So you want to do Gibson neck binding. Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching another episode. I'm sorry that I'm in my dirty, noisy shop. We have some new neighbors and I guess they like to party. No, they've got the music going. I don't know if you can hear it. And I know it's the shop is echoey, but for the first part of this video, we're gonna be in the shop because for this part of the video, I'm gonna talk to you about Gibson style, like Les Paul binding, where the binding rides over the fret on the end. We touched on that in a previous video, and I thought I would show you guys how I go about grinding away all of the material here that is not going to stay, if that makes any sense. So we've done videos on this in the past, but we had a lot of questions about this. How do you do it? Where do you get it? And I thought it was a good time to revisit that. So let's talk a little bit about why you would want to. Number one reason would be because Gibson does it. Fair enough. You want to make a guitar just like Gibson? Cool, happy meal for you. Number two, you think it looks cool? Hey, I'll be the last person to say you don't get to have a vote on whether or not something is or isn't cool. So if you want to just do this because you think it's fun, again, happy meal for you. Number three, you don't like doing fret ends. Absolutely. You will probably spend more time doing this than you will doing fret ends, but there's absolutely, positively no way that the fret is going to poke out and get you from the side here. Now it is possible that the fret can push the binding away, but you definitely, and you might feel that, but you won't feel the metal. So, so let's talk about that. These frets were installed and ground down before the binding went on, just like I showed you guys in the last video. I glued the frets in, so they shouldn't be they shouldn't move around too much, hopefully at all. That would be awesome, and I think that's going to mitigate a lot of this stuff. So yeah, so binding on the edge of the fretboard that covers up the frets is classic. It's cool, and it eliminates the idea of of having frets that where the fret end is, and yeah, Phil McKnight can run the nylon over this all day long, and it won't do anything. It won't snag. You still got to do it right though, and it's going to take you a little bit of time. All right, so if you'll remember in the past video, we added the binding and it's taller than the frets. Obviously, that's because the binding has to go up over the fret. Now we have to trim all this stuff out. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to our router table and we're going to buzz a bunch of this stuff off using power tools. Before we start doing it with hand tools, we're gonna use the power tool. In a previous video, I said that I have it on good authority that, that Gibson does this a different way. They use a hot wire that goes along and they just kind of drag it over the fretboard. I've never actually seen it. Like I said, I have it on good authority that's what they do. I don't know. It would work. I don't have a hot wire that cuts binding, but I do have a router bit with a bearing on it and a router table. Let me show you what that looks like right now. So I've got a router bit with a bearing on top, and again, remember I said my shop was super dirty? It is. Router bit on top, that's gonna ride on the fretboard. I've just got my neck rested on a piece of MDF here so that I don't have to constantly change the height of my bit. I should be able to get this set up and run it through here without changing it at all, and the bearing, like I said, is gonna bounce over the frets and ride on the fretboard, and it's going to give us a pretty decent edge. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so as you can see, that was pretty easy, and look, it actually looks like it's starting to look like it's supposed to look. There's little nubs where the frets are, and no binding up here, kind of like it is on this side. So now all that's left to do is the other side, and then we'll start to attack both of these sides with some hand tools and get them looking good. Okay, the next step of this process is to grind all this excess material down so that it perfectly matches the fretboard and rides over the fret. I've done this one already, which means I've done this patch here, the rosewood area, before the first fret and in between the first and the second fret. And I've ground down the all of the material that is over the fret, and I matched it as good as I could. I'm going to show you guys some tricks here. The trickiest part of this, though, is to just slow down and take your time and do it right. This takes a long time. I'm going to actually set my stopwatch and see how long it takes me to do this whole neck, and see if I'm going to do the best job I possibly can. I'm going to show you guys some files that I like to use and some of the techniques that I like to use to do this. The router bit takes a lot of it away, but there's really just no shortcut to getting this done and getting it done right and making it look good. You can go fast and make it look bad, but why would you want to do that, right? So let's. I've only got. Let's see. There's 22 frets on this. So there's only 43 more of these to go. So let me get started on this. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to show you guys some techniques that I have discovered through doing this for a few times that I've done it, and I think you guys will get some benefit from that. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, the very first thing that I want to tell you guys is you can't see. Glasses like this, or even better, one of these visors from Stu Mac, really helps you kind of get an idea of what's going on. My eyes are 53 years old. I just can't see. I'm betting that you guys can't either, based on the sample size of the number of people who've come through workshops here at our shop. Guys, we're losing the battle with vision, and it sucks. But so get some tools and help you out. Protect your eyes when you're in the wood shop, but if you need to use magnifiers, by all means use magnifiers. It doesn't help you work any better, but it helps you see better. Okay, I've also got a host of files here. Link in the description below to these Stu Mac files. This one here is probably my absolute favorite, and I think this is like a fret. What do they call this? They call this a coarse medium. And this is a fine and extra fine. Like I said, I'm going to link to these files in the description below because I think that Stu Mac should call these the Gibson fret nub files, because that's what I use these for more than anything. The neat thing about it is the extra coarse one removes a lot of material, and then you switch over to the other side and you don't booger up the rosewood. I've also got just some other files here. These are all Stu Mac ones. There's some triangle files. This is actually a fret file, which is kind of handy. It's got 3 burnished or polished edges, so you're not actually filing. This is just a regular file that came in a kit from Stu Mac, and I think this one is too, this tri-corner. But like I say, the heavy lifting is all going to be done with this coarse and medium. My new campaign is to get Stu Mac to change the name of these files. All right. So I'm going to change the camera angle. All right, gang, so let me move this junk out of the way here. So I've got my magnifying shield thing on, and I've got my my coarse and medium file. Like I said, this is the one that I'm going to do pretty much everything with here. So what I want to do is go right up to the edge of the fret and just start removing that binding. Now, fortunately, this binding is super soft compared to wood or nickel steel. So so you just kind of want to go slow and see all this little fuzz here. That's what you want to see, and you can break all that stuff off pretty early. When you start to get close to the fretboard, switch over to the medium side and just kind of follow follow the radius of the fretboard. Now you will notice that I am not cutting this direction. I'm actually riding on top of the fretboard here. And what I'm doing is just kind of continuing the radius that I spent a lot of time getting exactly right on my radiusing sander. Okay? So now I want to start to remove some of this material around the frets. And I'm going to use the medium side. And I think I'm going to switch over to this fine and extra fine side now. And I'm just going to start to break that area around the fret. And again, the binding is considerably softer than both the fretboard material and the fret, which works to my advantage. And I'm also going to, like I said, it works to my advantage because I'm going to use both the fretboard material and the fret to guide my file. Okay? And don't worry, we're still going to do a bunch of fret work, so it's not that big of a deal to get this right. Okay, so now you can just kind of bust these little fuzzies off, and you can really tell on the side here what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so just take your time, and remember, it's like Wyatt Earp said, fast is fine, but accurate is final. So we want to be as accurate as humanly possible. All right, I'm going to set my my watch, and I'm going to see how long it takes me to do this. And again, I've done this more than just one time, so I might be a little faster than you, but I just want to give you guys an idea of how long this takes. All right, it's 10:48 right now. And so we're going to write 10:48 on the neck. And by the time I'm done, I bet, well, we'll see how long it takes. Okay, so like I said, we're starting at 10:48. Actually, it's 10:49 right now, but you get the idea. All right, here we go. Let's finish it up. All right, it is now 11:02, and I got this whole side done in, well, less than 15 minutes. And yeah, it's not exactly perfect, but you know what? I bet you if we take some red Scotch-Brite and go over everything, it'll be damn fine. Let's have a look here. Yeah, that actually looks really, really good. So, of course, we're going to be doing the bevel on this just like we would a regular fretboard. But as you can see, it doesn't take long to do. You're just grinding plastic, so not a big deal. Now, I was kind of working. I was a man on a mission, but it shouldn't take you all day to do this. Just just a little bit of time. Go slow. Get your technique down, and yeah, that looks pretty damn good. We'll still have to do the other side, of course, but yeah, let's start that now. So before we start this other side, I was talking with Chris, and I said, what are some of the pitfalls that you see to doing this style of binding treatment on the neck? And he said that that the biggest fear is that guys think they're going to damage the rosewood or damage the frets. Remember, you're focusing on the plastic, which is eminently more fileable than either this Chechen or black poison wood or this nickel steel. So let's add that to the list of things to pay attention to besides that you can't see. Make sure that you are using the fretboard radius itself to help you, and you don't want to go at a funny angle. You know what I mean? You want to go at the same radius as the fretboard. Chris also said that I've done this before, and that's one of the reasons it didn't take me quite as long to do. But the fact of the matter is that, yeah, I think that a lot of guys just try to rush this job, and you don't have to rush it. And if you don't rush it, it's not a big deal. But like, man, people are like, oh God, I can't do this. That's too hard for me to even do. And I've talked to a lot of guys who have made Les Pauls, and I ask them if they did this kind of fretwork, and they're like, no way, it's way too hard. And I'm thinking, well, why is that? Why are you making it harder than it needs to be? So on the other one, I did a thing where I actually just got all the meat removed from in between the frets, and then went back and got the fret crowns, if you will, later on. That seemed to work pretty well. But again, just take your time, and if you do it right, there's no way you can get it wrong, as I'm fond of saying. That's kind of a Yogi Berra thing to say, isn't it, Chris?
Yes.
I don't know if you guys can hear Chris in the background. He said, yes, it is. So the other thing is, remember, we're going to work these frets over quite a bit later on when it's time to do any leveling or dressing as needed. And we're going to clean up this, clean up the fretboard itself with a razor blade. So don't worry if it's not, 100% perfect right now. Get it 99% perfect. Get it 90% perfect. So, and you can see, like, so there, I actually I put some file gouges right in that fretboard right there, and so I'm just going to take them away with the less coarse side. Okay. All right, let me finish these up, and we'll come back and I'll show you a couple more things, and we'll be done with this fretboard. All right, gang, I'm all done. Remember, on my my neck here, we wrote 1048 on the fretboard, or the headstock. It is now 11:22. So it doesn't take hours and hours and hours. I'm not going to do the math to figure out how long it took, but it doesn't take a ton of time to do this. And again, remember, we don't have to get it exactly perfectly right. We just have to get it mostly exactly perfectly right. because we still have a bunch of stuff to do to these frets. We have to make sure the frets are leveled and dressed. We have to, and hopefully we press them in okay, and there's not a lot of leveling or bashing with hammers. But we will be scraping the fretboard in between the frets with a razor blade to get rid of a lot of this glue. So that's going to be something else that will take some material off of the binding nubs. But let me just get you in here, show you what I'm talking about, what it should look like. These actually look pretty excellent. So all I used was my Stuart McDonald Gibson fret nub files. We're still working on the name change. And like I said, and afterwards I kind of did some, took some red Scotch-Brite and just kind of broke off some of those, little bits of flash from the plastic binding. So yeah, so guys, if you are interested in doing Gibson style binding, I would urge you to, I'd urge you to do it. In fact, if you've never done it before and you love Gibsons and you want to make a Les Paul, and one of the things that's stopping you or holding you back is you don't want to do Gibson style raised binding, come on, just give it a try. I don't think it's that tricky, and I think you'll really dig the results. But if there's some other stuff holding you back, I would urge you to come out to one of our workshops. We have Build the Classic Les Paul in December this year, and you could do this, and you could make this, you could have something nice. Just like this, I'll teach you how to do it, and you'll walk out here with a really excellent looking Les Paul. But you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to come out to a class here. You can try this yourself. And tell me how easy it was, how hard it was, and get good at it too. You might have a customer one day that says, "I gotta have those little nubs." Would pay to know how to do it. So guys, if you like the video, give me the thumbs up. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so. We've got cool videos like this all the time. In fact, if you like content like this, you might want to go over to our Patreon page and consider becoming a member, or you can join on YouTube. Click the little box. Boop. And even $1 a month goes a long way to helping us bring you guys neat stuff like this. If you can't do it, I totally get it. Like and share the video as many places as you can think of and help us grow the channel that way. So I think we covered it all. Guys, if you got any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to go to StuMac and get you a set of those files and use the link, and it doesn't cost you any more, and I get a little taste. It helps us grow the channel that way too. All right, so until next time, this is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. Chris and I will see you next time, and lots of live streams coming up. So take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.